Versatile Mage. Chapter 574. You're not the only one with spikes. The large rock barrier was crushed into pieces when the fierce-bone undead general slammed into it. It was obviously not sturdy enough, as the warrior-level creature's bones were several times stronger than the rocks. Damn it, spread out, quick. The leader yelled at his team behind him when he saw that something was wrong. While giving the order, he slammed his hands on the ground, spreading the black soil apart like a wave. The wave helped the team to spread out as the ferocious fierce-bone undead general charged past the team members in the middle. Long bones like horns on its shoulders suddenly detached and flew at the scattering magicians like huge spikes. My hand, the girl wearing a hat screamed. A spike like a long spear had pierced her arm and nailed her to the ground. Fresh blood poured from the wound down to her hand. Damn it, something isn't right about this fierce-bone undead general. The leader thought, glancing at his team member. Mage, closest to the girl, jumped in front of her and grabbed the spike with his frost-covered hand. The frost rapidly spread along the spike, freezing it and the wound on the girl's arm. Mage clenched his hand into a fist, shattering the two segments of the spike into pieces, leaving the part that had punctured the girl's hand to stop the bleeding. The bones of a warrior-level undead were usually poisonous. If the poison spread, not only could she lose her arm, but her life would be at risk. How do you feel? Mage asked. The girl's pale face slightly recovered. She could no longer feel her arm or the wound as they were frozen. Calmly, she said, much better. Mage asked her to stand further away and turn to face the fierce-bone undead general. A star pattern appeared under his feet. A moment later, 3 ice chains simultaneously appeared on his sides. The ice chains danced wildly and flew at the creature, quickly wrapping around its lower limbs, arms, and waist to hinder its movement. The fierce-bone undead general's strength was shocking. It forcibly broke free from the chains before the frost could penetrate its body. Pieces of the broken ice chains splintered everywhere. Back off, I'll let it have a piece of my wind disk, yelled Jiang Li. A strong gust containing dark streaks of energy rose like a giant black serpent and swept forward rapidly. The gust slammed into the fierce-bone undead general's body with great might. The creature did not dodge but opened its arms and slapped at the black wind. The gust twisted as it collided with the force of the slap, breaking into flurries of air that swept the surroundings. A few other spells were fired at the creature, including a blazing red fiery fist, groundbreak, a purple thunderbolt, a green magic vine, and the leader's ice lock, bone husk. Any other warrior-level creature would be covered in wounds and bruises after so many intermediate spells. Yet as the flames, ice shackles, and broken vines fell to the ground, the team discovered the fierce-bone undead general's bones were as sturdy as steel. The spells seemed useless. What kind of defense is that? Yelled Zhou Ming. Skeletons were usually harder to deal with than zombies. They refined the energy of the dead, resulting in sturdier bones. Skeletons often had a higher lineage, so warrior-level skeletons were more difficult than warrior-level zombies. Everyone had fought more warrior-level zombies than skeletons. However, the skeleton before them was trickier. They were clueless about how to fight it. Our spells aren't strong enough to damage it. Let's back off and think of another plan, the leader said decisively. But what if it gets close to the walls? It could easily break a hole with its strength. Zhou Ming blurted out. Zhou Ming, watch out. Zhou Ming was still speaking when the fierce-bone undead general suddenly drew a sharp spike from its body and hurled it at her. She hadn't expected it to attack from that distance and was caught completely off guard. Even if she summoned her shield equipment, she couldn't be sure it would stop the spike. As her thoughts froze, a lump of black shadow appeared in front of her. Zhou Ming flinched, realizing Mo Fan had eerily risen from the shadow and stood in front of her. Departing nether shield, Mo Fan pushed one arm forward. A blue glow gathered on his hand, materializing into a shield. The departing nether shield, with a blue metallic luster, appeared just tall enough to protect a human behind it. The sharp spike collided with the shield. Its force was shocking. Though high-quality equipment, the spike managed to dig into the shield, almost penetrating it. Mo Fan, standing behind it, could see the tip of the spike. His eyes widened. Damn it, you're not the only one with spikes. Any strong impact triggered the shield's counterattack. A dark blue spike suddenly flew out from the departing nether shield, stabbing at the Fiercebone Undead General's face in a cold flicker of light. The spike pierced the creature's left eye and got stuck. The eye, which had glowed like an LED, dimmed. The creature, unfazed by pain, simply tensed its legs and dashed ahead. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.